You have 2 minutes. You have 2 minutes. You have 2 minutes.
Welcome to You Have 2 Minutes in association with OK T-Shirt.
Welcome to the latest episode of You Have 2 Minutes. Tonight I'm joined by the CEO of the Birmingham Brummies, Nigel Tolley. Nigel, how are you?
Hi there, we're getting there.
So me and you sat down and spoke about 5 months ago, give or take. You'd just moved into the Premiership, you were taking on a new venture. How has the first half of the season in the Premiership been?
Well, what shall I say? It's been a bit of a rocky road. Could have been better for us. We're still struggling a little bit, but it's our first year in the Premiership, and it's I think anybody that came into the Premiership for the first time would have it a little bit tough. We're a fledgling team.
And the one thing that you did at the start of the season, and has been the case since you've took charge, was issue a rallying cry for supporters. Has that been answered so far this year? Are the crowds better than they were? Could they be better?
It started off well, and then it went down a couple of meetings ago, and we've had a couple of meetings with lower crowds. The situation's quite simple. If we don't want to make a profit. That's never been our intention. We never will make a profit. I've always promised everybody that. But we cannot carry on making the losses that we're making. And, we're working as hard as we can to get more sponsors in. But at the end of the day, it's people through the turnstiles that make the difference. And I'm just hoping now that with Freddy in the team, it will bring in more people. At the moment, the way things are going at the moment, I've already put about 50,000 in this year. And that can't carry on. I said that at the start of the season. I said that in the winter, that I couldn't carry on putting vast amounts of money in. And my business plan was to put half the amount in this year as last year. But that was the business plan from the year before. We desperately need more people in through the gates. It's as simple as that. And I know it's people don't like it when I keep going on about that because, and I've put it in the program before now, and people have said, well, why'd you put it in the program? It's the people that are here that are reading that, and we're already here. We do need to find more people to come in. We're taking out Facebook adverts, and that made a difference. That's made a difference. We should be continuing to do that now. And we are getting new people into Speedway. But, I should like to see more Wolverhampton supporters down, to get their fix of Speedway. Yes, if we can't get to something near breaking even this season, there's no two ways. I'm not just saying it. There's no two ways about it. We won't be here next year. There's several ways round it. I'm hoping things will carry on as they were this year, and the Greyhounds will still be there next year, but that's by no means certain. And yes, we can have the lease if the Greyhounds move out, but with what's available to us, without having more meetings of Speedway and practicing, and the planning authorities I don't think would allow anything more, we would have to find probably another 120, 130,000 on top of what we've been paying out, which we just can't afford to do. So quite simply, we need to get the people in through the turnstiles. There's going to be some terrific racing for the rest of the season with Freddie and the team. We're capable of going places. You know, you've got to remember, we've just been knocked out of the cup by Ipswich, but we beat Ipswich at home by more than than they beat us for out Ipswich. So we took the bonus point on that. And that's a team that's heading towards winning the league this year. So if we can do that, we're gonna I'm still looking to get up there in the league. And I don't think the racing's been bad at Perry Bar this year. It's been a lot more exciting than last year. But there's still things we could do.
And you touch on Freddie there now. Birmingham have probably got the most high-profile rider in British Speedway, currently the 2023 world number 2. How did the deal come about with Freddie?
We actually contacted Freddie last winter, and we were putting a deal together for him in the winter. But he decided in the end he wasn't going to be racing in UK this year. But then a few weeks back, he contacted us and was all keen to come across. And Birmingham was certainly his team of choice. And we put a deal together, and it's went forward from there.
And it's a bit of a coup for the Brummies because in 14 years prior to this year, Freddie's only ever raced for Wolves. So to get that signature, only his second ever British club, that's a big coup for you, for your consortium and for the Brummies.
Yeah, at the moment, he's second in the world, and for Brummies to get a second in the world rider is absolutely fantastic. That last week down at Ipswich, his first meeting, he was riding superbly. His first meeting in the country, and he was there. He was there. He certainly was showing Emil the way around Ipswich.
And he was supposed to debut a week ago today at Perry Bar against Ipswich again, Freddie versus Emil. Was it almost too perfect of an alignment because the visa issues? Was it almost too ideal, that situation?
No, I mean I should love for him to have been riding at that in that first leg. And I'm sure that if we had him in the team, we'd be through to the finals of the Knockout Cup now. I'm sure of that. But that's not the way it's happened. With the visa situation, he couldn't ride on the Monday. I can see the reasons why, he couldn't. He had already had an invitational visa. An invitational visa lasts for a month. And the plan was that we applied and gained, it's a fairly simple matter, an invitational visa while we were applying for his international sportsperson's visa. But then we found out that he'd already had one, an invitational visa, when he rode at Workington and at Bellevue. And the rules, the BSBL rules are that you can't have more than one in 12 months. So we had to wait for the main visa to come through. Luckily, they're not taking as long as they were last year and the year before. And as it happens, we're on a call to BSPL on a Zoom, and Lawrence suddenly said, "Oh, his visa's just come through." And it literally, while we were on the call, his visa came through. So that was it. He was declared in the team, and away we went to Ipswich. It was a bit of a fraught week that week. He was all ready and willing to be racing, and we saw him go around the Perry Bar track after the meeting, looking in superb form. But yeah, it was all a bit fraught. But he's in the team now, and away we go.
And he got to Perry Bar last week about 5:15. He really, bedded himself in. Nobody knew he was going to be there, outside of the inner circle of people. And he was really bedding himself in. It was almost a press and practice for him last Monday, so he could really focus on his racing when he did start. Was it nice for you as the promoter to see he was so eager to be there and he's not
Oh
just
yes, yeah, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I said jokingly, yeah, to a few people, I should love to have put him in a Stig outfit. Um, if people hadn't known that Freddie was going to be there, and said, "Do you know who this is?" And everyone said, "Oh, didn't know the Stig could ride Speedway."
Well, obviously Freddie's now in as well. The flip side to bringing Freddie in was that somebody had to be released, and that was Zach Cook. How difficult a decision was that to make? And, what was the sort of process of making that decision?
It was a very, very difficult situation. Obviously we've got to lose one rider to bring Freddie in. No, there's no way around that. I spoke to Sam, Chris, and Lawrence, and we were going round in circles to start off with. It was very, very difficult. And eventually it was decided on Zach, unfortunately for Zach. I should love to see him in the team. But unfortunately, that's the way it is. And I hope that Zach finds himself a position in another team very, very quickly.
And a less high-profile signing, you released Vaclav Milik and brought in Justin Sedgman as well, and he's quietly gone about his business and seemed to balance the team out a little bit even before the signing of Freddie as well.
Yes, that was the effect that we wanted. And I think Sechi is living up to his name, and he's coming up with the goods for us. Now, there's a lot of people sort of doubting that he could do it, which you'll always get. But remembering back to last season, Sechi really did as well in the Premiership as he did in Championship. So I was quietly confident that he would come out with the goods. No, he's doing an excellent job, I think. I just hope that Piotr now picks himself up. He's promised me for next meeting he's sorted the problems, and next meeting he'll be away. So we'll see what happens then.
And although Steve Worrell is the captain of the Brummies, now you've got Freddie in as well. He's a personality that will command that sort of respect, and he'll pass on his tips. I know it's been said that at Ipswich the other night he was giving advice where he can to everybody. He is that person with that aura that will command the respect of the rest of the team.
Yes, he will, and he is the sort of person that will share that advice, and he does speak to the rest of the team. So no, I'm very pleased, very pleased.
And
But
Victor Lam, oh,
obviously,
sorry.
to go back to it again, we need to get the people in through the gates to pay for Freddie.
And you touch on Freddie there and the payment. There has been people saying, "Oh, well, the Brummies will be bankrupt by June." I get the feeling that you wouldn't have made this deal if it had have risked the sustainability of the club. So, what would your message be to people who are saying, "Oh, you're going to be bankrupt and shut by the end of the month"?
Please ensure that we don't by getting in through the turnstiles. Simple. We've given you the second best rider in the world. Now get down and watch him superb Speedway.
And the next meeting at home, 2 weeks tonight as we record, has just got a little bit more tasty as well because last week Kings Lynn announced the signing of Jankovic. So we've got two Grand Prix riders in action. You've got Tom Brennan, who's just qualified for the British Grand Prix at Cardiff as well. So it really is looking like a tasty meeting as well now.
Well, it is, most certainly is. Tom did superbly in British final, as did Stevie as well. Stevie rode superbly as well. No, it's going to be a cracking meeting. I'm not sure on the situation with visas. And Janket. If he's got a visa, international sports person's visa, then he'll be in the team. But I don't know if he hasn't, how advanced they were with obtaining that visa. I should imagine he will be in the team for a week on Monday.
And when we were at the track, not the Nook Cup meeting, but the league meeting against Ipswich, about 6 o'clock, it absolutely poodled down with rain for about half an hour. And you were out there leading the team to unblock the drains and stuff. Was it important for you to get hands on and lead from the front with that?
I don't think I was leading the team. Yeah, I was out there. I was out there. giving a hand, but it certainly wasn't me that was leading. No, everybody was out there. I mean, Peter did an absolutely superb job. You know, when I first walked around that track after the rain and saw the floods, basically there's that much water that had come down. The centre chambers for the rainwater were full, and that's why we were just pumping it out onto the grass because the chambers were just completely full, and it was still touch and go. But I was confident we could do it, and the referee was on our side as well. He asked me what we needed. I said, well, give us quarter an hour. The meeting's starting quarter of an hour later. And if that doesn't work, we might need another quarter of an hour. But to be fair, it wasn't long after 7:30 when we were all ready to go. Water pumped away.
And was there any complaints from the Brummies team riders or the Ipswich
Oh.
promotion or anything, or was it everyone just trying to get it on?
Both teams are absolutely completely happy with the track. The Kevlar's got a little bit dirty if you weren't leading the race, but no, it's the track wasn't bad at all. Terry and John have done a superb job on that track this season. One of the problems we had last week was we'd run out of the shale that we'd brought down from Monmore Green, and we were using some of the old shale, which, to be quite honest, it is absolute rubbish. And that's why things were a little bit dry in that meeting, because you can't wet that shale. It just goes straight through it. And it goes to dust. But good news is we've got another load of Monmore Green shale being delivered on Wednesday. So that will be put on the track in the next week or so. We've got plenty of time to get that on for the next home meeting.
And now, every Premiership team will have a 2 or 3 week period where they've not got a meeting. Now it's the Brummies' turn for that. Is that a little bit frustrating? You've just signed Freddy. The team are just starting to gel, albeit after a disappointing Ipswich result in the end, but the team are just gelling in. Is it a bit frustrating now to have sort of 2.5 weeks before you're back in action at
It is frustrating, but it'll give everybody time to reflect on the situation and move forward. You got this gap was planned by BSPL because of the Euro football. That's the idea of it, and all clubs throughout the UK would have had a gap. Unfortunately, with all the rained off meetings, some are having to use this next couple of weeks to catch up on themselves. Sheffield riding against Kingsland tonight. But that was the idea of it. It gave a gap for the football.
And, you talk about the crowds now that, the Sheffield numbers were up and, as you say, they've dropped a little bit since. What other things can be done to entice the crowd in? Is there any offers you could do or, anything like that? Is there any conversations going on behind the scenes about that?
There's lots of things, yeah. We've got a superb team that's working on that. But the main attraction is the standard of Speedway that you're going to see at Perry Bar. There's going to be some superb races coming up at Perry Bar. And that's the big attraction. And we're doing it. I mean, if anybody's got any ideas, let me know how we could improve things. But no, but the racing is going to be absolutely superb in the forthcoming weeks.
And
unfortunately, we can't control the weather.
Yeah,
And, that's been another reason why the terraces haven't been full, is because the weather forecasts have been so diabolical. It might be dry at Perry Bar and no rain whatsoever, but you've only got to look around and there's black sky all the way around, and just 5 miles away it'll be absolutely pouring down. And that puts people off coming. I think, well, especially if we're if BSN are streaming or it's on Eurosport.
And arguably the best meeting of the season so far was that TV meeting against Bellevue on Eurosport, where a lot of neutrals said that the track was great and offered great racing. So it is a step in the right direction that the racing is getting better and getting noticed for being better.
Yeah, yeah. Well, look at the times for last week.
Hmm.
I don't know if it's the faulty transponder system or what it is. I think everybody's more or less agreed now that that wasn't a track record at Sheffield. Um, but all the times were 2 seconds quicker last week. So it just goes to show what's going on there. The track really is coming together now.
And one of the shining lights this season has been Tom Brennan. We've already touched on him getting the wild card for Cardiff, and because of the issue with Freddie's visa last week, he got to go to number 1. Was that kind of a reward for the season he's had as well, that he gets to experience that at number 1?
Well, yes, he obviously will, but we've got to make sure he doesn't get completely tired out. And, you know, it is a lot tougher riding at number 1, obviously, than even just another of the heat leader positions. But yeah, I'd like to think it did prepare him a little bit for being at Bellevue.
And Tom's a massive advantage to have as well in the team. We know he's done a lot of stuff with sponsors over the off season and coming into this season, and there's always a push to get new sponsors through the door as well. How could people get involved and offer to help out if they so desired to?
Just contact us. I mean, there's so many things you can do being a volunteer down at Perry Bar, helping with things down there. You know, volunteers do a multitude of jobs, such as just being on the car park and parking people, or there's just no end of jobs. Then there's a lot of sponsorship opportunities available. And we should be getting, I think we'll probably get more Eurosport meetings. And the audience on Eurosport is absolutely terrific. No, I can't really understand why we've still got gaps in the air fence for the banners on there. Because it's terrific advertising for companies. It's really is. There's lots of different opportunities. And we're doing all we can to try and ensure the future of Birmingham Speedway. You know, we fully appreciate it isn't just a matter of saving Brummies, it's saving Speedway in the Midlands.
Yeah.
I should like to think that Coventry does eventually come back. I should like to think that Swindon appears again. But as it stands at the moment, apart from Leicester, we're the last men standing in the Midlands.
And obviously, I kind of got involved this season as a volunteer behind the scenes, and I can attest to how much of a positive environment it is. Everyone at the Brummies does just welcome you in like a family member. It's not like you don't have to have been a diehard Brummies fan for years. You know, as long as you love your Speedway and want to help out, there's something for you to do.
Oh, most certainly. You've just touched on it then. You become a family member. The atmosphere down at Perry Bar on a Sunday, that's the other thing. Anybody wants to come along on a Sunday morning and join in helping us. The atmosphere down there is terrific on a Sunday, as you will know. And as you will know, there's breakfasts as well. Some people eat rather more of the breakfast than others. No, it's always good down there on a Sunday. Atmosphere is superb.
We did open up to the supporters to send in a couple of questions, and one of the questions that was sent in was, with 2 Brummies riders now riding at Cardiff, was there any idea to put a coach on from Birmingham? I know obviously there was the coach from Wolverhampton to Perry Bar, which got discontinued eventually because of not much popularity, but would there be an option to put a coach on to Cardiff?
That would really be the supporters club. They look after coaches. Got to watch what we're doing on that. I mean, it did cost quite a lot of money to put on that coach from Wolverhampton. We lost a fortune on it. I'd like to have thought that would have carried on to the end of the season, but we just couldn't afford it. You know, if there's only half a dozen people on it, it does cost a lot of money. But I should love to see. I mean, going back to the old days, going back to 30 years, we'd have probably had 2 or 3 coaches going down to Cardiff. But that's how things have changed now. I haven't had I mean, well, there's a problem in Cardiff last year, thinking back, there was actually a rail strike.
Mm.
There's always the possibility of having that again this year. And in which case, a coach probably would be a good idea. But we need to have further discussions on that with the supporters club, etc.
So just to wrap up on them, what would your message now be to the supporters? Obviously you've signed and settled a really good looking team now with an out and out number one, which people have called for years now. What would your message be to the supporters for the rest of the season to make this venture and hopefully the future of the Brummies bright?
As I've said, there's going to be some superb racing down there. Get down there. It's all very well watching it on Eurosport or watching the streaming. You can't beat being down there. It's watching it on your television's almost, it's behind a glass screen and you haven't got the atmosphere and all the rest of it. And as you will know, the atmosphere on the terraces at Perry Bar this season is fantastic. From the pits, I can hear people cheering from the stands, which it's the first time I've really been able to hear that.
And now this team a settled team, barring any injuries or anything else. Is this the 7 that will finish the season for the Brummies now?
Can't say that for sure. If something is needed, if something happens, we've always got to be prepared for that. So let's see. I should like to think it's a settled team. We were talking about this over the weekend. Years back, going back to sort of the 70s, 60s, you had a team and you stuck with that team. And you might make one change per year, but basically that was your team. And I should like to see it go back to those days. It's, as I said, it's our first year in the Premiership. We're a fledgling team. I should like to see the team settle down and we go into next season with a team prepared. Maybe make 1 or 2 changes and that's it. I should love to think that we will be able to move forward to next season.
Yeah.
But as I say, we need the people in through the gates to do that.
And does that frustrate you a little bit that you can't plan ahead? You've got teams that are probably already looking at next season now, but obviously with the dog stuff and the financial cost and everything like that, you can't plan ahead too far in advance. You come to the end of this
No, you
season
can't.
and it's maybe.
You can't put together a proper business plan. I mean, we've got to remember that, such as in 5 years' time, there isn't going to be a Perry Bar Stadium. They're going to have started to develop it then. But I'm always looking, as you have to, if we do lose Perry Bar Stadium, where do we go from there? And there's lots of different possibilities. We should be ever working on that. But I just hope that we can move things forward for the next couple of years at Perry Bar.
Well, Nigel, thanks very much for giving up your time tonight, and hopefully the supporters will turn out now. You've delivered a number one and a settled team, and we can see plenty of new faces as well at Perry Bar on the 24th.
Yeah, let's just hope that summer does start and we start to get some balmy summer evenings.
Cheers.
Anyway, it's my pleasure to coming on.